Okay, happy Sunday, guys. So, it's Sunday. I am preparing to listen to the virtual service, and it's about to get started. So I'm not going to be long. I just wanted to come and give a revelation that I received upon praise and worship that I had to come and share with you guys. So for those of you who don't know, and this is your first time watching this video or any of my videos, I was pulled into some practices that were definitely not things that I should have been tapping into, that were related to divination and related to the occult. And I've always loved Jesus. I've always loved God. And I was still filled with the Holy Spirit, which is why there was conviction there. But that conviction during that time, I ignored. So just to explain to you why it makes sense now. A lot of people who tap into your chakras and dealing with supernatural things like your spirit guides and tarot, and we want to feel good. We want a certain feeling that connects us to Mother Earth or the universe, and those feel-good practices, we don't even realize why they supposedly feel good and why we should not be tapping into them. So really quickly, we've all heard before that we're made in the image of God, right? So if we're made in the image of God, we know that God is supernatural. He's a supernatural being, which is why he is not a being that we can see, but we know he's there. We know he's around, right? So there are parts of our body that is made within his image. If he is supernatural, there are parts of our body that is like his. But there are things that we know that we have access to, or some of us do. Not everyone knows that they can partake in telepathically talking to beings, and that they can create certain things to happen by tapping into certain parts of your body called your chakras and all this stuff, right? But those areas are areas that are not supposed to be known. Those are areas that we're not supposed to tap into. For example, God did not place those things in the Bible and give us direction on how to connect to our chakras, or he told us not to talk to the dead. He told us not to talk to psychics. He told us everything that goes against tapping into the supernatural for a reason. For the same reason he told Eve to stay away from that tree. Just because we have now, by the enemy, by Satan, been shown and been made aware that we have certain parts of our body that will tap us into some form of power. The question is, what side are you tapping into? What power are you tapping into? Because both Satan and God have their own kingdom, and they both have their own separate power, right? So what power are you tapping into if God has specifically said not to? The same, and people will always say, well, why would he give us that ability? Why would he put this in front of us and then tell us not to do it if it wasn't meant for us to tap into? Excuse me. The same exact way that he put that tree in the middle of Eden and told Adam and Eve not to touch it, because he wanted to test your obedience. He wanted to test you to see whether or not you're going to listen, if you're going to follow him, if you're going to listen to the enemy, which teaches you to do for yourself. Do what makes you feel good. He doesn't want you to tap into being obedient to Christ. He does not want you to be obedient to God. He does not want you to live under his covering. He wants to take you out of that covering. The same way when she ate of that tree, her eyes were opened to good and evil. The same way that he tricks you into opening your third eye, and then your eyes are truly opened to the supernatural, good and evil. Not the good, but the evil, because that is something that you are not meant to tap into. So as soon as you open your third eye, you will start to see supernatural beings you never knew existed that will scare the living crap out of you. Do you think God would have wanted you to do that? So what power are you tapping into? Just because you know that it's there and it's available for you to do. It's available for you to access. We know better. So once you tap into those things, just understand that law of attraction, you might be able to tap into some things, but just know, what power are you using? What power are you drawing in order to tap into those things? If you want to please God, why would you want to tap into a power that comes from the enemy just to access material things? If you know that ultimately we belong to God and that God is who created us, not the enemy, why would you want to tap into the enemy's power to appease your flesh? Because you feel calm and relaxed and you want to do yoga and you want to, you know, use crystals and you want to do candle magic and you want to do this and you want to do that. We all have been given a choice because he wants to test your obedience. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted to use that analogy of thinking about Adam and Eve. Just because something is placed here on earth, and just because you might think it is something that our bodies can do and partake in and can connect with, does not mean you're supposed to. We have that within us because we are made in God's image. But the enemy, he comes to use that part of you that's made like your creator in order to tap into his power. All right. The enemy will always twist the truth, and he will be very, very close to the truth, but there will always be a lie within it. So yes, you have access to all these things within your body, but that's because you're made within the image of God. But when the enemy comes along, gets you to trust in his truth, which is to do your own thing and not follow what the word says, then he can use his power and have you tap into his power to access those things that are within you. And now you're under his power and you're no longer under God's covering. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and finish watching my sermon that I've already missed 5 minutes of. And I just wanted to give you guys that revelation. Hope you enjoy your Sunday, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.